When the noise of modern life reaches a point of intense sensory overload, it's a natural human instinct to look for an exit. We search for some kind of permanent meaning amidst the chaos. For many, that search leads straight to the steps of a sanctuary. And when we feel overwhelmed by our own smallness, we often try to bridge the gap to the divine by making massive, sweeping promises, hoping to secure favor through grand words. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 warns against this, dismissing hasty promises as the sacrifice of fools. Going near to listen is wiser. The text grounds this reality. God is in heaven, and you are on earth. The infinite distance makes brevity logical. Yet people still speak rashly. They make a massive vow, and then, when the reality of keeping it sets in, they try to backtrack, telling the temple messenger it was all a mistake. The text asks a pointed question. Why invite anger that could destroy the very work of your hands simply because you couldn't control your tongue? All that verbal gymnastics and endless daydreaming about grand spiritual gestures amounts to nothing but hot air. The alternative offered by the teacher is simple: quiet reverence. Real respect isn't measured by how loudly we negotiate or the sheer volume of verbal commitments. It's found in keeping our mouths shut and doing what is required. Leaving the temple steps, we follow our laborer into the shadow of towering government buildings. This is the second vista the teacher dissects. If you look around your district and see the poor being crushed or rights routinely denied, the advice here is blunt. Do not be shocked. This section of the text lays out exactly why that happens. It notes that one official is constantly being watched by a higher one, creating a massive chain of self-preservation that insulates those at the top from the suffering at the bottom. This diagram shows how the system functions in practice. The yield from the land starts with the laborer, but it's immediately siphoned off. It passes through layer after layer of middle management until the king himself takes his cut from the fields. A political structure designed to relentlessly funnel resources upward will never spontaneously produce equity. Looking for ultimate meaning in that kind of bureaucracy is a dead end. Next, our search plunges into the economic hub, the frantic, high-stakes energy of the central marketplace. Here we hit a core psychological trap. The desire for wealth operates like a vacuum. The more money you acquire, the deeper the dissatisfaction grows. You never actually reach a point called enough. And when the goods do increase, the text observes a frustrating reality. The number of people lining up to consume those goods increases right alongside them. The owner gets little more than the chance to stare at their own assets. Notice the physical contrast in this dynamic. The merchant has abundant wealth, but the anxiety of maintaining it permits absolutely no sleep. Meanwhile, the laborer on the right, whether they ate a little or a lot that day, enjoys deeply restorative rest. Then comes what the teacher calls a grievous evil, hoarding wealth to your own detriment, only to see it vaporize in a single stroke of misfortune, leaving absolutely nothing for the next generation to inherit. To hammer the point home, this passage presents the ultimate leveler. It reminds us that everyone arrives entirely bare from the womb, and they will depart exactly the same way. Dedicating your decades to stockpiling assets is effectively working for the wind. It ends in dark dining rooms, surrounded by intense frustration, affliction, and anger. But the text doesn't leave us in that darkness. The tone shifts, like morning light breaking, as our laborer wakes up refreshed, ready for a new day. After tearing down the empty promises of religious bargaining, political justice, and extreme wealth, the teacher finally observes something genuinely worthwhile under the sun. Looking closely at verse 18, we find the prescription. It is good for a person to eat, drink, and find satisfaction in daily labor. The passage clarifies that the ability to enjoy possessions and accept your lot is categorized strictly as a gift of God. This gift acts as a kind of cognitive shield. It keeps a person so thoroughly occupied with gladness of heart that they rarely have to agonize over how short and fleeting their days actually are. By embracing the reality of their present moment, the crushing noise of the city and the endless pursuit of more simply fade into the background. Meaning isn't found by escaping our daily routines through massive fortunes or loud, empty vows. It's found by engaging deeply with the work in front of us and discovering quiet joy in the simplicity of the task itself.